So this is about an end-to-end batch processing flow, especially on the Guidewire. From a developer perspective, we must be knowing. Right. So these are the four basic flow processes we must be aware of. One about triggering and as well as scheduling. For that, we normally use Gosu programming anyway, right? So we use Gosu batch processing for that. These can be updated in the Guidewire scheduler first, because when we are updating this in the Guidewire scheduler, we need to configure the schedules. So, which can be initially to start with the backend as a database for any kind of JMS trigger can be used here. At the same time, external scheduler, which is optional anyway, right? So this is the first. So once we have configured the scheduling here, when we want to perform the batch processing, second about initialization of work queue. So here normally we start the batch processing where we have to initially set up the pre-processing and all. After that, we need to query whatever the data that we want to be updated. For example, policy data wants to be updated over here, or if you want to load the data. So wherein subsequently we need to populate any kind of work queues, because if you want to load any kind of data relating to the policy files or any kind of claim information, so we need to populate the work queues. At the same time, we have to create work queue databases, etc. So here, being a developer, we need to define the queries in as less queues also, because to have that knowledge, as I already mentioned, right? So having some knowledge over writing and building queries is important being a Guidewire developer. The third, we need to go for a parallel execution processing where we have to create multiple work queues, right? So how to fetch the items, right? So what are the different GoSo work item processes we have, right? So how this can be initiating business logic executions can be initiated, and how the workers, like if you want to fetch items, etc. So we need to connect with GoSo work item processors, wherein by updating whatever the required business logic executions or any transactions commitments, everything can be done. So implementing a GoSo logic under the Guidewire Developer Studio is important for us. Last but not least, we need to monitor and completion, right? So for that, we need to collect all the required results from the studio monitoring by connecting to any kind of database lakes, wherein by extracting all the information. Then followed by that, we need to go for post processing, including any batch status we need to know, right? So because how many files, how many policy files or claim files, etc., were completed or failed has to be identified. So that subsequent notification we need to send. For that, what kind of communication network we are following, right? Either it can be a JMS process, email process, or JMS policy and all. Finally, all this information has to be updated in the batch logs. So as a development, we need to do the monitoring and debugging here. So these are the four basic end-to-end development flows. Being a Guidewire developer, we must be proficient enough when we are working on the batch processing, all that.